Welcome to another installment of the Goddess Keys, where we activate our divinity and embody it in the physical and material realm. And thank you so much for stopping by and cultivating and picking up some of these tools and jewels. Today's conversation is on the chakras, or what I am referring to as the chakra matrix, and freedom from it, so that we are able to embody our multidimensionality, our connection to source, our connection to unity consciousness with a lot more ease and flow. And this is something I've been meditating on for at least a good year, this concept of extricating myself from the chakra matrix. And I've been definitely working towards it, but I must admit, if I'm candid, I've also fallen back into patterns related to the chakra matrix, because it's a really, really big paradigm that we are indoctrinated with as we go through our spiritual awakening and spiritual activation process. If you are a healer, then you would be considered less than if you didn't have an intimate knowledge of the chakra system. But a question that we might want to ponder is where this ideology and this framework truly originated from, and why do we associate certain colors with certain emotions, or certain colors with certain chakras, and why are these colors relegated to specific chakras? Another question to ponder is, why do we have more than one chakra? If the spiritual path is about aligning with and embodying oneness, why would we be given a framework which separated our energy the way that the chakra system does? Another question to ponder is, how many chakras are there actually? I have poured through countless amounts of materials, books, articles, videos, etc. around chakras, and nobody can give a definitive answer around how many chakras there actually are. We do discuss the 7 main chakras, but one thing that we're told as we engage in our spiritual awakening path is that as we awaken, more and more chakras become available. As we ascend, more and more chakras become available for us to tune into. Where is this information coming from? So these are questions that I was pondering, and one thing that I started embarking on a few years ago was this concept of chakra clearing, right? Okay, I want to clear all my chakras. I want to balance all my chakras. And I know that for folks who even clicked on this, you've been through or are going through this currently of like, okay, I'm ready to clear my chakras. I'm ready to clear all the illusions. I'm ready to clear all the obstructions, all the shadows, all the karma, etc., right? And so you go on this chakra clearing path. But one thing that's been shown to me is that in itself is a matrix, that in itself is a construct. If you approach this journey from, I need to clear my chakras, you will always be clearing your chakras. There will always be something more to clear, because this concept, this framework is not sourced from the source, okay? There is a source to it, but is it creator consciousness? Is it your creator consciousness? Or is it somehow siphoning? And you can just kind of look at pictures. Like if this is hard information to digest, or if there's a lot of resistance coming up with this, first of all, I would definitely sit with that, right? Because you want to sit with the resistance and see where it's coming from and see where the source is. But one thing you could start doing is looking at videos, or not videos, even like pictures. If you were to Google chakras, start looking at pictures of the way the chakra system looks, and ask yourself the question, does this look like unity? Does this look like unity consciousness? Okay, and like start there. All right. And then why can't we discern how many chakras there actually are? My guess is actually that really we are just one big chakra. You know, if we are emanations of source, then ideally there's a chakra for every single aspect of our field and our bodies, okay? So there's an infinite amount of chakras that we could probably discover, unlock, ascertain, and that's because all is one. And ideally, like, our energy is sourced from the all, from the 0 point field, okay? So zero is interesting because zero can represent the infinity, right? The infinite essence of something. And then it could also represent the nothingness of something, okay? And so even as I'm saying this, I'm even interrogating what I just stated around all is one. Maybe all isn't one. Maybe all is 0 point. And there's an infinite source that we're connected to from zero, okay? And so that might be why we can't actually lock down how many chakras we have, okay? So I kind of want to share something that has led me to, there's a few revelations that have led me to question the chakra system. But whenever I try to Google it or I try to look on YouTube, I'm thwarted I was thwarted in a lot of ways from pursuing this. It almost made me feel like what I was doing was dangerous or crazy to even want to extract myself from the chakra system. If you were to Google it or go on YouTube and learn about this idea of chakra removal, there's a lot of fear mongering around it and how that could really mess you up if you do that. And when I think of chakra removal, I don't even know if that's the terminology I'd want to go with. That's kind of what's out, for folks who are discussing this. There is this concept of chakra removal. I don't even know if that is in alignment with what I'm discussing today, because, well, number one, you can't remove your energy, right? Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. But if we are viewing our energy from the chakra system, we're viewing it from division quite naturally. Our energy is divided into different colors. Our energy is divided into different parts of our body. All right. But a lot of what we're doing as we activate our multidimensional selves is we're realizing that there aren't really a lot of separations, that things are very interconnected. So why wouldn't our chakras be the same? So let's just start with the throat chakra, because a lot of folks on this path who work on awakening spiritually go through throat chakra issues. It's so common, right? And it's something that is pretty consistent because the throat is so powerful. And in a lot of ways, the word is your wand. Okay, so there's been a lot of obstructions to the ways in which we communicate, not just with our voice, but also the way that we perceive things, the way that we're communicating on the non-physical as well. But if we were to go based upon the chakra matrix, what would they tell us? They would tell us, oh, okay, so the throat chakra is blue, so wear more blue and do this throat chakra healing meditation and clear the karma within your throat chakra. But one thing is that you can do all those clearings, but there's always going to be more clearings because it's a matrix system. We can even, there's even pictures that you'll see, not with the basic chakra pictures, but if you start getting more into the quote unquote advanced energy work, you'll start seeing these diagrams which show chakras as being these weird energetic funnels. It looks really strange, actually. They really look like energy siphoning devices. If you look at some of these cones, just type in chakra cones and you'll see what I'm talking about. Where is that energy being funneled to? Where is it going? So if you continue to perceive your ability to communicate through the chakra system, your throat chakra will most likely always be blocked in some way. That's not to say that you won't break through certain barriers, but there will always be more blockages that you'll need to overcome. But if you think about detaching yourself from the chakra matrix, right? And this concept of chakra removal, the concept is that you're not actually removing your chakras, but you're removing etheric implants that are related to your chakras or connected to these points in your energetic field, which is causing your energy to be siphoned or harvested. So it's kind of more about removing implants and siphoning devices related to your chakras. But, if you were to Google this or look online about this, it's going to seem a little like too fringe, right? Too woo-woo. Like now you're just going off the deep end here. Okay. And that's kind of why I've been researching this for a while. I've been doing my own clearings around detaching myself from like etheric implants related to the chakra system. But then I've also had to free my consciousness of this too, which has taken a lot of energy, and it's taken a lot of focus to do this. So one time I was in meditation a few months ago, and I was visiting multidimensional versions of myself, and I was able to actually visit, I guess, my monadic self, a very, very evolved, I'm not even going to say higher consciousness, but evolved version of myself. And this was a time when I was really kind of working through some stuff around energy harvesting, reclaiming my energy, etc. I'm still doing that now, but I have a different perspective of it now. But when I was kind of conversing with this multidimensional aspect of myself, they didn't even know she was more of a she though. She didn't even know the concept that I was talking about. Like, it didn't really make sense to her because she was so in alignment with unity consciousness and her goddess self that she couldn't, it wasn't even a paradigm that she was familiar with. Okay. And it was an interesting conversation to have with this version of myself, because a big part of the journey for me has been this concept of monadic integration, being more and more in touch with that version of myself, channeling that version of myself into this realm, so that there is no separation. And it was a really interesting learning moment for me around some of the freedom, the freeing of my consciousness that I still was needing to do in order to get out of the paradigm of something being able to be taken away from me, my energy being able to be taken away from me. To be within or to subscribe to the chakra system, you need to also subscribe to this idea that your energy can be destroyed or taken away from you. Okay. And you also need to subscribe to a fragmented version of yourself in order to be in alignment with that. So to kind of detach yourself from the chakra matrix, it does require a huge consciousness freedom, a huge leap as it relates to consciousness freedom and connecting with your monadic self, which I believe goes way beyond anything related to the chakra system. Now, they'll tell you that, you can unlock a certain chakra, like they think they call it right now, the 10th chakra. They're calling it the soul star chakra. And it's like, if you unlock the soul star chakra, then you can kind of connect with that monadic version of yourself, et cetera, et cetera. I don't even think that that's true, because it kind of makes more sense to me to think that the monadic version of myself encompasses the all. So they're not just encompassing the 10th chakra. They're encompassing like infinity. All right. The like infinite divine potentiality. And I think that goes beyond a chakra that's supposed to be above my head that I'm activating. Okay. So it's like really stepping out of the game, like realizing that, number one, you're the programmer of your reality, and you want to move from being a player in a game to a reality programmer. Okay. And then you even want to step outside of the program at all. All right. And maybe you're just in a space of infinity and pure creation. And like I said, I know this could be like a little woo-woo, like maybe the woo-woo alert is going off and it's like, whoa, like that might be too abstract. But that's kind of the vibe that I'm in now. And the readings that I've done. So I would challenge you, if you're curious about this, Ask your divination system as it relates to this. You can even ask a tarot deck. Just ask your tarot deck. That's kind of how I started a while back. Ask your tarot deck. Show me the chakra system. Don't ask about your specific chakras. So a lot of times what we do is we try to like fix ourselves, and we think of ourselves as fragmented and broken, right? So we think about, okay, well, what chakra needs to be cleared? Show me my throat chakra. Like, we'll do that kind of stuff. But no, go big and just ask about the chakras as a whole, not your chakras, but the chakra framework as a whole, and see what comes up in your readings. If you have the genetic path cutter deck, that's something else that you'll tap into. Once you have the genetic path cutter deck, you'll get some more clearer responses as it relates to the chakra system, way more than what you would get in a traditional tarot deck. The tarot deck can only communicate with you in such a way, okay? It's kind of like, the way I like to describe the tarot deck is like, it's like, imagine that you're communicating with somebody, but their voice is really muffled and you can only catch like every third word that they're saying. You get the general sense of what their message is, but you're not fully clear on it. That's how I would describe tarot. That being said, I really do appreciate the archetypes. The archetypes can be helpful to learn, but the tarot deck itself is a unclear, muffled communication system with source. Now, the genetic path cutting system that I've been discussing and sharing with folks is very in your face. It'll give you some pretty intense answers, but yeah, you'll get some pretty intense answers. But so it's not for everybody. It's only if you are really in this vibe of removing some pretty stuck and stagnant institutional constructs as it relates to your healing path. So it's the folks who are attracted to this kind of divination system or at a certain part of their journey where they're expanding into their multidimensionality. So if you ask the Oracle deck, the genetic path cutter Oracle deck, just ask them about the chakra system, and it'll definitely rock your world, and you'll be like, whoa, okay. And so then we have to think about all of the spiritual teachers out there, me included. I've been pretty critical of the chakra system. I actually have a chakra education playlist on YouTube that you can take a look at, and I go through all the different chakras. Not all, because we don't know how many there are actually. There's always a new chakra that's popping up. But I have a good amount of chakras that I've explored, definitely not all of them. But I do it from a freedom-based approach of like, this is how energy can be siphoned, or you could kind of subscribe to an energy harvesting paradigm through this chakra. So I've been pretty critical of it, but I have to admit, I've also been a part of the chakra paradigm. And it's a very personal journey once you decide to clear yourself from the chakra matrix. And there's a big amount of subconscious clearing, or not even subconscious clearing, but there's a certain amount of confidence that you will probably need to have in your creator capacity, because it is a form of codependency that you're unlearning when you detach yourself from the chakra system, okay? Because a lot of us have utilized the chakras as a crutch on our spiritual awakening path. I mean, just go into any spiritual store, right? They got chakra everything. They got a chakra candle for you. They got certain crystals for you to utilize. For each chakra, there's a color. There's a different symbol for you to utilize. There's just a huge market as it relates to the chakras. It's a huge business, all right? And so a lot of us have funneled our energy into this paradigm, and we've done so through purchasing these chakra candles and these chakra healing workbooks, etc., etc. I've done it too, all right? And I think maybe that's a part of the path. Sometimes I've said this a few times of like, you need to learn the rules so you can break them too. Like sometimes it's important to go down that path. And one thing I will say that's helped me with the whole chakra thing is I've been able to identify the ways in which my energy has needed to be reclaimed, or I've needed to reclaim my consciousness in certain parts of my body and energetic field through working through the chakra system. But on this path towards multidimensionality and embodying consciousness freedom and removing soul contracts and etheric implants, you're going to find that the chakra system will start holding you back, and it'll put you in this weird mind maze or consciousness trap. And you'll just constantly be on this wheel of clearing, and it'll never be enough. And then your perfectionism might kick in. It's like, oh, will I ever be good enough? Will I ever be clear enough? Will I ever be connected to source enough, et cetera, et cetera. And the issue might not be you. The issue might be the framework that you're attached to. So I'm just kind of sharing this information because first of all, I'm setting the framework for some of the content that I'll be sharing both on the YouTube as well as the Patreon. So I'm actually going to be sharing a chakra unification decree on YouTube that you'll be able to tap in with. Of course, you will want to utilize your discernment. Instead of dropping it, I kind of wanted to share some of my thoughts and the process that I've gone through, because it's definitely a paradigm that I've needed to detach myself from. I'm not even saying I'm fully detached, but I'm in a place of being really confident within my creational capacities and potentials, to where they get in my way. The chakras just get in my way. Okay, that whole paradigm and that whole construct. That's another thing I want to say. When I've I don't even want to call it manifested. When I've worked on rapid materialization in my reality, I have completely surpassed all chakra paradigms. Like, I'm not even in that dimension, y'all. Okay. But to get there and to do those things, I've had to extract my consciousness from these weird electrical matrices powered up by the chakra systems. Something else that the chakras can be attached to are these etheric pyramid systems that you've heard me talk about from time to time. Particularly, oddly enough, the family pyramid. So there's this weird way that energy is harvested through the family, through the chakra systems, I've discovered, as well as money as well. So a lot of times you'll find that the lack programming will be attached to certain chakras more than others. So I have been working with folks on Patreon with this idea of healing the money story, and doing so through the waters. And there was a point where, especially as something that we're working on a bit, is this concept of retrieving our energy from different financial institutions. There is a lot of, and that's where the root chakra blockages are. It's because there's energy siphoning happening through the root into some pretty large institutions. I'm going to be a little vague about that here. I talk about it a little bit more in depth on Patreon. I go a little bit more deeper with folks one-on-one with it too. So, but yeah, the root chakra, if you find I'm having root chakra blockages, don't think about it from the sense that the chakra paradigm will share with you, which is you grew up in an unstable home environment and you had a lot of trauma as a child that you need to clear, and that's why your root chakra is blocked. Let me tell y'all, you can do all that healing work, do all that past life regression, inner child or inner children healing, etc., 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 and your root chakra would still be blocked if you don't get into some of the deeper institutional roots of why your root chakra is blocked. You following me with this? You hear what I'm saying? Read between the lines with that one. All right. So you want to know what's going on with the chakras, but you also want to completely detach yourself from that matrix. Okay. So that you can work through your own creator capacity and create your own energy fields, okay, instead of being attached to these really big structures. It's kind of like the difference between shopping at a local boutique where the clothes or the items are completely handmade with love, or going to get your clothes at a large chain. I don't know, like a Walmart or something like that. The quality is going to be different, right? So if you were to try to manifest or materialize your reality through a larger institutional framework, it would be probably a lot more difficult for you to get exactly what you wanted, okay? Than if you were to get something handmade with love and the best materials. It's kind of the same for the sort of framework that you are working on materializing things through, okay? You would probably be a lot more successful with the way that you're materializing things if you went like directly to the 0 point field as opposed to going through the chakra matrix. Is that making sense? I'm trying to give I really try to give relatable examples because this is some real abstract stuff. I know, y'all, this is real abstract. So I'm trying to make it applicable to the material reality as much as possible because, y'all, it really is. Okay, you could really get through a lot of bureaucracy and red tape with certain things. I'm going to give some practical tips right now for folks who are kind of feeling like their backs are up against the wall with the chakra system and you're ready to evolve, but there's some like fear and trepidation. So practical step number 1, of course, always utilize your discernment, utilize your own divination system, your own intuition, to learn about how the chakra system impacts you. Is it something that's helpful to you? It might be. You might need to go through that particular framework or coursework even, right, on your path. I would just think about it not as the be all end all, but something that you will eventually transcend. But the information might be really helpful for you, or some of the practices might be really helpful for you. Another thing I would suggest is definitely learn as much as you can about etheric implants, okay? Because to transcend the chakras, you want to be on this trajectory of retrieving your consciousness, your etheric consciousness from any matrix systems or energy siphoning systems. And then you would want to work on retrieving your consciousness from this idea that your energy can be siphoned, right? Because when you're fully connected to source, then that in itself is not something that could even happen to you, because you're completely self-sourcing and you're sourcing yourself from the 0 point field. And so nothing can be taken away from you. That takes time to get to, I would love to say that that's just a consciousness that I am always in, but it's not. I can access it though. And I think the cool part about this path is the more energy that you dedicate to consciousness freedom, the more you're able to be in that vibration. And then the more fun you're able to have in your reality and the more aligned you're able to be in your reality. So that's cool. But if you're constantly focusing on clearing your chakras, though, it's really hard to be in that particular paradigm. Okay. Another thing is if this is something that's in alignment with you, then you might want to check out the chakra unification meditation that I'll be dropping on the YouTube platform in a bit. And then, of course, do your research, see what you find on Google about it, see what you find on YouTube about it, see what comes up. And then I also am going to be sharing some deeper resources on Patreon. I'm going to be sharing the exact decree. I'll be sharing through the meditation on YouTube, but I'll be sharing the text for folks on Patreon. And then I'll also be sharing a specific subliminal related to the chakra implant clearing and the declaration and decree for that. So if this is something that you're interested in, you can always find different resources on Patreon. Thank you to all the patrons out there that have been helping this work, to fuel this content. And it's been a really great pleasure to align with y'all. If for folks who are not really into the whole monthly thing, I totally get it. I also have, there's also different ways to support or to access this information. I'm working on putting out more toolkits. There's just so many resources that I've created, compiled, and shared with folks, not only for the coaching that I've done for people, but just on my own, things that I've needed for my own path that I've literally had to create out of thin air because I couldn't find them in a Google search, So I'm really happy to be able to share that with the collective. I've been able to see the ways that it has been really supportive on this consciousness freedom journey that I've been on and the folks that I've worked with. So it's a big pleasure of mine to share it with folks. So you might want to tap in with the etheric implant removal beginner's toolkit. I will be sharing more etheric implant removal resources soon that are a bit more extended, but wanted to start out with the beginner's toolkit for folks. Okay. If you are interested in taking a deep dive, consider connecting with me through a one-on-one coaching journey, either 3 months, 6 months, or 9 months. And until January 22nd, I actually am offering 50% off all coaching packages. Okay. So I'm recording this in 2025. So if you catch this after January 22nd, 2025, that doesn't apply. But hey, if you connect with it earlier, then you can most definitely connect with that. If you've been kind of considering getting some one-on-one coaching for this path that you're on, then this might be in alignment with you. And I'll be sharing more resources about this chakra clearing process soon, or this chakra matrix clearing process soon. And check out the playlist I've created on YouTube to learn more about freeing your consciousness from the chakra paradigm. Sending y'all lots of love, joy, and peace until we meet again. Bye, y'all.